Welcome back, Fight fans. We got UFC Paris coming up this weekend, September 6th. Imavov versus Borralho taking place. We're going to get the main card broken down for you, starting with Patricio Pitbull versus Losina Kita, the Black Panther. You want to break down the Black Panther for us, Anthony?
I like this guy a lot. He's coming in with a 16-1 record. His only loss came in the first round of a fight in which he broke his leg, throws a really hard leg kick, landed, snapped his tibia, steps back on it after they have a little grappling exchange on the ground, decides he can't go any further. No shame in that whatsoever. This is a two-division champion in a promotion called Octagon, the featherweight and lightweight division. When he was 18 years old, he got in prison for a little bit for having too many street fights. But that's the kind of guy you want on a UFC roster. Somebody who doesn't fight for the sport, they fight for the love of the game.
Yeah, I like this guy. I like this guy a lot. I like his highlights. Seems fast. A lot of big swing. Comes in there reckless. Really hurts guys. Doesn't necessarily put them away. Lights out. But guys will quit and fold on him, and then he'll finish off. With all that being said, I think that this guy coming in for his UFC debut against a veteran like Patricio Pitbull is a tall task. As boring as I think Patricio Pitbull is, and as much as I would love to see him get slept, I don't see it happening. I see Patricio Pitbull grinding this out in a very boring decision where he probably pitter-patters with him on the feet for a little while, and at the 1 minute mark takes him down, lays on him at the end of each round, and wins either 30-27 or 29-28.
I understand that perspective, and Pitbull's definitely got the gas tank to do just as you said. I just believe that Kaida is going to come in here hungry. He's going to come in here looking for the finish. I don't think he'll necessarily get it, but I think he will overwhelm the older Pitbull who is just exiting his prime as Kaida is entering his. I would take Kaida via decision 29-28.
I think the Black Panther's got quite some size on him, too. How tall is this guy?
He is, I want to say, 6 foot.
Yeah, because, I mean, Patricio Pitbull's a small guy. He only comes in at 5'6". You know, and I saw that this guy was the lightweight champ, like you said, 2 divisions. So he's going to have the speed. He's going to have the power. You know, he's young, but, you know, Patricio Pitbull came in against Yair Rodriguez and looked terrible. A lot of people will say maybe it's the UFC jitters. I think that this kid coming in is going to have some UFC jitters of his own. Patricio Pitbull has 2 fights now. I really rate that win over Denis pretty high. Was a clear decision to me. It seemed like he was clearly the better fighter. And, you know, I think that Denis would compete for a belt in Bellator/PFL. So
29-28 across the board for that fight, I believe, with Denis.
Well, the Black Panther's only listed at 5'9", so he's not going to be towering over the guy. But should be a fun one. It is a interesting matchup. You know, a lot of guys with this kind of hype will just get on the Contender Series. They would be allowed to win on the world stage on a Tuesday, get an interview, and then we can look forward to their fights going forward. But for this guy to actually open on a Paris main card against somebody like Pitbull. A two-division champ. Pitbull was, you know, 2 fights away from a title fight, basically. 2 fights ago, if he would have beat Yair, then you're arguably talking about a title fight. Now you got this guy coming out of nowhere.
The Octagon.
So I don't understand the odds. With that being said, I think that this is a real live underdog in Patricio Pitbull.
Can't argue with that. We move on to Paul Craig versus Modestas Bukauskas. Fucked up that name again, but it's fine. What do you think about Paul Craig?
I think Paul Craig sucks, personally. I really do. I think that if you lose a kickboxing match to Bo Nickel, then you should be cut from the UFC. And the fact that he's stuck around just to get a no contest, now he's coming back against a guy who's already been cut from the UFC, a little bit younger than him. Paul Craig, 37, going on 40.
Yeah.
And I just don't see Paul Craig doing what it takes to get the submission against Bukauskas. I think Bukauskas is well-rounded enough that he'll avoid the ground at all costs, and even if he does go down there, he'll survive.
It's tough for Paul Craig because, yes, he is a jiu-jitsu ace, but he has 0 takedown offense. The man shoots from a mile away. Everyone just shrugs him off, pushes him away.
He tries to pull guard.
That's exactly what he tries to do, and that doesn't work in MMA. People just stand up or they create distance somehow or another. And with Paul Craig, he's really struggled with his move to 205. He was struggling in the back end of his 185 career, and now he's moving up against bigger and stronger guys that he has struggled with his entire career. Yes, he has that one-shot power with his grappling. He has beated guys like a Magomed Ankalaev. He's beat guys like a Jamal Hill, 2 champions in the 205 division, but
not bad for someone that sucks.
It's just you're on a 4-fight winless streak. You haven't shown us much in the last 2-3 years. It's hard to pick against Bukauskas in a fight like this. I've got Modestas by finish.
Oh, interesting. You think he's going to get Paul Craig to quit?
I think so. I mean, Johnny Walker made him quit. Bo Nickel was just spamming overhands. He's not going to get anybody worth a damn to finish. But yeah, I mean, Brendan Allen submitted him. Paul Craig is very beatable and finishable. I love the personality of Paul Craig. I love his persona. I just don't see him getting the W this weekend.
No, me neither. I do think Modestas Bukauskas is going to be too much for him. 31 years old. He's in the prime of his MMA career. Lots of experience now. One of 2 fighters that has had a UFC run, got cut, went to Cage Warriors, came back, and
right.
Yeah,
a lot of that in this card.
A big win against Ian Kutulabe. You know, that's a win I rate highly. To go to decision with that guy, that's a scary opponent, and so you only get better from that. He had 3 finishes in a row coming before that. No, 2 finishes in a row. And yeah, I think he'll get this one, but I don't rate Modestas Bukauskas to be all that great.
I don't think he's a world beater by any means. I mean, if you put the same opponents that Paul Craig has faced up against him, they probably come out with similar records. Maybe he's even worse. But in this type of matchup, striker versus grappler, striking beats jiu-jitsu, wrestling beats striking. Paul Craig has no wrestling, therefore he's going to lose.
Well said.
Moving on to Mason Jones versus Balaji Oki.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Tell the people about Mason Jones.
Mason Jones, just like Modestas Bukauskas, had original stint in the UFC. He came in undefeated, went 1-1-1, maybe 2-1-1, whatever he was. Wasn't good enough to stick around. UFC let him go. Went to Cage Warriors, ended up getting 3 TKOs in a row. We'll call them TKOs because Mason Jones isn't putting anybody to sleep. Has been welcomed back into the UFC. Got to fight Jeremy Stevens, who is going to be fighting Mike Perry in bare knuckles, so really excited about that.
And we keep calling out Platt.
Anybody that fights Jeremy Stevens is a dog, and the fact that Mason Jones stood on the feet with him for 2 rounds and really decided that I'm going to seal the deal with my grappling. And the third just shows how versatile the kid is. 30 years old, another guy that's in the prime of his career, going up against Balaji Oki, who I'll let you break down, Mr. Oki.
I like Balaji Oki a lot. I think he's another really fast striker. His defense is really good. He's stuffed a lot of takedown attempts that have been thrown his way because people are trying to just get him on the ground. When he gets on the ground, he's very quick to get back on his feet as well. So Mason Jones's path to victory is definitely via the grappling. I just don't see him being able to hold down Oki. I feel very comfortably that this underdog is live and well. I think Oki is going to be able to throw some major output within the first couple rounds, wear down Mason Jones, and get the W by the end of the night. I don't see either man finishing the other. I think their grappling is about on par, and if it stays on the feet, I just think that Oki's volume will outpace Mason Jones, and he'll get the decision victory.
For the fans' sake, I do hope that Oki ends up getting the victory here. I think that he's a more exciting fighter, more exciting prospect overall, and with that being said, I do think Mason Jones is going to take this one to decision. I think that he is going to match his striking on the feet just fine, and when he wants to, he's going to take him down, just like he did Jeremy Stevens. So I think that this fight is tailor-made for a guy like Mason Jones, who beat a guy like David Onama, who I think David Onama kind of has a lot of similarities to Balaji Oki, and not just the ones on the outside.
Ones,
you know what I'm saying? I do think that they are similar fighters. Onama being a little bit lighter, right? He's a featherweight, so coming up to Mason Jones had the advantage in that one all day. Mason Jones is the favorite to win this one, and I think it's rightfully so.
Just slight favorite. It is next to a pick'em. But with that being said, we move on to our co-main event. Mauricio Rufi versus Benoit Saint Denis. How do we feel about this co-main?
Anytime that a fighting nerd is on the card, we get so excited. And this one probably more than any other. Even though he doesn't speak English, This
No.
guy's style is electric and so fun to watch. You can't take your eyes off the screen when he's fighting.
My favorite Ruffy moment is when he was fighting Jamie Malarkey, and he went for like this scissor kick takedown.
I know what you're talking about.
Whatever the hell that thing was. He slides his ass on the ground and traps his leg, gets the takedown. He didn't hold him down there for long, but the fact that he hit it and got it, it was just like, what the fuck am I watching?
It was kind of just like showing off.
Yeah, I mean, he was toying with him by the end of the round. Just so fast, so sharp. And when he's going up against a guy like Benoit Saint-Denis, who is more than game to exchange on the feet and more than game to get into the fire of a fight, you're dealing with a sharpshooter. And Mauricio is going to find that target. He's going to put your lights out if you're not careful. You need to exchange, or you need to initiate your grappling exchanges. You need to get Ruffy on the ground when nobody else really has, besides his Contender Series fight. Other than that, I think it's if it stays on the feet, it's pretty clear cut and dry who I believe is going to win.
Yeah, I think that Benoit Saint-Denis probably has the largest head out of any opponent that Huffy has faced.
Big target.
I definitely think that Benoit Saint-Denis' path to victory is going to be the ground game. We did see Huffy get tested on the ground against, however you want to pronounce that guy's name, from the Kakistan Mountains on the Contender Series, but
nope, not even going to try.
He finished him. Huffy toughed it out and he finished him at the end, and he has come into the UFC and absolutely set it on fire. Every time you throw this guy's film on and the announcers are talking about him, they compare him to Conor McGregor, and you can see it in the stance. Yeah. You can see it in the way that he is just light on his feet around the ring. His focus, his eyes are laser focused on his opponent. Like, you are not going to slick something by him. He's there to get hit, but he'll roll with the punches, and
so good at that too.
He's so fast on his little spinning heel kicks. I just think that Huffy's gonna tear Benoit Saint-Denis apart. I think that BSD is slightly predictable. I think he's gonna come in with those spamming leg kicks from the back. He stands in that southpaw position, doesn't really switch things up, and I don't think that you can have that kind of predictability with that speed against Huffy.
I love Huffy. I'm very excited to see him get this one done. I don't know if he will get the finish, but Benoit Saint-Denis is going to give him every opportunity to, unless it is a doctor's stoppage, which is really the only way that Benoit Saint-Denis does get stopped. I do see this one going to decision, maybe a third round TKO KO, but if Huffy gets this done, gets him out cold, it will be electric, and it will leave the Paris crowd stunned.
Yeah, they're going to have no choice but to root for the ops on this one.
You got it, man. He's so much fun. Oh, but speaking of fighting nerds, let's take it on over to the main event of the evening. Caio Borralho versus Nasruddin Imavov. How do you see this one playing out?
Man, this is a fun one. Caio Borralho has been looking forward to this match for a really long time. He fought Jared Cannonier just about a year ago at this time, and you can say that he's been calling for Imavov ever since. Imavov has had his fights, a big one against Izzy, you can't turn it down.
Right.
And we saw how that went for him. But I'm excited for this fight because I think that Borralho is going to expose Imavov. I think that Nasruddin Imavov has gotten lucky on his rise to that number one seed. Rewatching the Jared Cannonier fight, sure, he had Jared Cannonier hurt and on skates, but that was one of the worst stoppages that we've seen in the past couple of years. Just on his feet, like not dazed. Like it was arguably the worst stoppage we've seen.
Caio had him in more trouble than Nasruddin did.
Caio had him out.
Yeah, he woke him up.
Oh, I hated that. That was so annoying. Just let him go. Let's let him go down.
That was like Diego Lopez versus Brian Ortega, where he hits him with the left and then the right weight woke him back up.
Yeah, absolutely insane stuff. So Caio Borralho coming into the UFC, a lot of people were labeling him as a grappler. Got a lot of decision wins and submissions before his first knockout that came in the UFC, and I think that he has the grappling to take out Imavov. Brendan Allen had Imavov in real trouble early in that fight, and that was about a year ago. I think Borralho is probably a better offensive grappler than Brendan Allen, and I don't think that Imavov is going to have the strength to do anything about it.
I think Nasruddin has the advantage in the power department, but he has never gone up against somebody as durable as Caio. Kyle has taken some of the best punches from the hardest hitters in the 185 division. I just don't see him getting his lights put out because I've never seen it before. And it's hard to pick against somebody who has just consistently gone out there and whooped ass his entire UFC career. There's never been a moment in any fight where I thought Kyle was going to lose outright. I've never seen him get badly wobbled. I've never seen him get knocked down. I just don't see Nasruddin, and respect to Nasruddin because he KO'd Izzy bad. You know, Izzy tried to have his moment where he wanted to unleash that Poetan. No, I'm good. Let's keep fighting. And then you got slept, bro. It made me so sad. But I just don't see Kaio putting himself in that position. I think he has the edge in the grappling, like you mentioned. I think he has the ability to take him down, hold him down, beat him up from on top. And I see Kaio winning this one via decision because I don't think either man has the capability of finishing the other. These are two of the top 185ers in the world right now, arguably 1 and 2. Whoever wins this one, give them a title shot. They deserve it. But yeah, I'm going with Kaio by decision.
I'm going Kaio, rear naked choke, 3rd round.
Love it. Way better. Way cooler. Go Kaio. Go Fighting Nerds. Do you want to wrap it up here? Or you want to talk a little bit about the upcoming fights?
We can talk about a little bit of MMA news. Yeah, that's going to be our coverage for UFC Paris. But in the meantime, a couple fights were announced. First of all, we'll just stick in the flyweights while you're looking up maybe the rest. We got Manel Kape versus Brandon Royval for 5 rounds in the UFC Apex.
That's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. Unfortunately, they're ruining it by throwing it in the Apex.
That needs to be fixed.
Extremely annoyed by this. Brandon Royval coming off of a Fight of the Year contender against Joshua Van, and to be thrown on the main event of an Apex card in front of 20 rich people,
right,
and everyone's cousin, is an absolute slap in the face to the flyweight division. This should be, even if it's 3 rounds, it should be on the main card of Madison Square Garden, or there's a UFC event that's going to be in Qatar in November. That would have been a great main event in Qatar. And also the last card of the year. It would have been a great opener for the main card.
I was going to ask, is the Kape versus Royval fight, is that the last card of the year, or are we having something on December 20th, right before Christmas?
Typically the last pay-per-view is like the first week of December.
The first week, okay. But yeah, we got that fight coming up. Obviously, in September, there are no pay-per-views, but we do have some bangers for main events, like a Diego Lopez versus Gene Silva.
That's next week, so make sure to tune in for our picks there. Let us know in the comments below your early predictions for Diego Lopez and Gene Silva.
Carlos Ulberg versus Dominic Reyes.
That's huge. That is huge.
And then the UFC 320, Magomed Ankalaev versus Poetan Pereira, the rematch. And we cannot stop without mentioning Charles Oliveira versus Rafael Fiziev in Brazil. Could this be Charles Oliveira's last hurrah, his last fight in his home country?
It's definitely not smart to come back this quick after being slept like you did. I mean, if Topuria is not booked yet, then you sure as hell shouldn't be.
No. And I don't understand why, you give Aaron Pico a 6 months, I don't want to call it a suspension, but they're not letting him fight for 6 months because of how badly he got KO'd. Charles is good? Charles is good to fight? I don't think so. I think when you suffer a traumatic brain injury like that, you need to take the back seat for a while. You should be done for the rest of the year. It's very unfortunate how quickly they're throwing him back in the fire. If I was his manager, I'd be fired. I should be fired. You should be fired. What are you doing to your man? But we also got, on October 18th, a middleweight, arguably the number 1 contenders bout between Fluffy Hernandez and Renier de Ritter. That's something that we have to look forward to. Very, very excited to see how that one goes down. Not who we predicted each other to fight, but a fun one nonetheless.
Yeah, I'm glad that Danny did this way. I'm glad that he said, here are the top 4 middleweights. Whoever has the best performance out of these 2 fights is going to be fighting Chimaev at some point, probably next year.
January or February. Yeah. Let's get the activity rolling with Chimaev. It's been I'm getting a little tired of this once a year, see you next year type business from him, especially after how active he was in the beginning of his career.
Yep. Well, that'll do it for UFC Talk this week. Make sure to check in next week when we go over UFC Noche, Diego Lopez versus Gene Silva. Best of luck on your bets. And don't forget, Patricio Pitbull is that live underdog.
See y'all next time.